So the gospel reading is from the book of Sophia, and the text that is read doesn't make it clear where in the story it takes place. So I'm going to cover that briefly because it matters. Because the story of Mrs. Sophia is basically that she was trying to ascend into a light higher than where she's at in the layers of aeons. And she sees a reflection of it and ends up going down instead. And she ends up in this world of darkness where all these beings are trying to take her light from her. And she basically spends a bunch of time praying and asking for help as she ascends back out of the darkness. And at different points, two angels show up to help her out. And then Jesus shows up to sort of give her some of the light that she'd lost from the beings that were chasing after her in the first place. And then basically he makes sure that none of the beings that were chasing her can get her again. And then after all of that happens, essentially what the part where she's praising everything and the fact that she's been liberated, that happens after all of that has happened. So it's basically like to the end of her what's the word? Journey. So yeah. I mean, yeah, that works. But it's the whole underworld journey going into the darkness and back out again. So she's coming back out of the yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine. There's a word I'm looking for that I'm not coming up with, so I'll just leave that be. But so it's basically like a, yay, we did it. Thank you. Let me not forget this ever again, sort of a thing. And that ties into several things. One of which is that before this happened, this is a personal thing, not a necessarily like a theological thing, but like she had to fall, experience ignorance, and then rise up out of it so she could experience the entire spectrum of wisdom. Because how can someone be wisdom unless they've experienced all of it? And so part of her saying, let me say all of this to like, thanks everybody, but also to cement in my own head what happened and that I got saved on all of this. And I never thought of this part before now, but I realized not only is it like her reminding herself, but also sort of a way to, like, she got help, so she's going to help other people out of the darkness as well, which is kind of what happens in the lesson. The lesson is from Secret Book of John, in which the Archons create Adam and Eve in this story, and they're ignorant, so they don't understand that there's something higher than themselves, and that they can't just create a thing and have it come to life. And so Sophia basically breathes life into it herself, and then they realize they've created something greater than themselves and try and hide it in ignorance on Earth so that, well, it doesn't actually say what they're afraid of, but they're clearly afraid of humans. And so they put them on Earth, they can forget what happened and where they originally came from and all of that. And then basically Sophia comes in and helps out. And so in the lesson, it's basically, Adam and Eve have this moment of realization of, oh, there's more going on than just what appears physically, visibly, sort of a thing. And to be fair, in the Secret Book of John, there's a lot of back and forth where like they wake up and then like the Archons are like, no, putting a lid on that, and then they wake up again. There's a lot of back and forth, which is accurate to real life because life is complicated and sometimes we forget things, which again is probably another reason why at the end of her story, Sophia's like, let me say all of this so I can remember all of it again later. Don't forget any of the things. So yeah. I've said this a lot, but I'm going to keep saying it because I need to remember this. It's that if Sophia, the embodiment of the wisdom of God, can get confused, get lost in darkness, and need help getting her light back, then it's totally fine that the rest of us are doing the same thing. Like, life is complicated. Earth especially is complicated. So asking for divine aid or help from other people, depending on what the issue is, totally normal. You were here this morning, but this morning it was Corpus Christi, and I told this whole story about how my cat got this weird streak of some sort of sticky, gray, black substance, and she got it on her side and on her ear, and so here I am rubbing my cat down with a washcloth, thinking about, I really hope this doesn't make me late, and like trying to figure out, well, anything. And I ended up having to take a bit of soap and water to get it off her ear because I knew full well, cats can lick a lot of themselves, but not up here so much, which I think is part of why that particular cat of mine loves head rubs. So yeah, we all need help, including my cat, whether she knows she needs help or not. Just like the rest of us, sometimes we need help and we don't know it, and sometimes we do. And sometimes help means, well, sometimes it can come in ways we don't like, but we need. Like, I may or may not have to give my cat a bath later if the substance doesn't come off, and I know full well if I have to do that, she's not going to like it, because anytime I turn my shower on, she runs. So, yeah. So just like my cat is afraid of the shower, sometimes we need help in ways that are scary or looks like something that might not actually be. In Gnosticism, ignorance is kind of the thing that separates us from God and from ourselves and a lot of other things. And like anything on earth, it is complicated. Sometimes it's willful, and sometimes it's not willful, and sometimes we're like a cat who doesn't understand what a shower is. So yeah, just, try to remember, it's normal to need help. I'm saying this partially to myself because I hate asking for help. And if Sophia can do it, you can do it too with help, whatever it looks like. Even if it's just giving your cat a bath. So with that, go in peace, and may the lady walk